speaking of voyeurism, this is a kind of image that that appears again and again in the Fuchs albums, and I'm just going to hold it up to your camera so that people can see it. It's a picture of a man peeping through a keyhole, which is a really fascinating idea that we, as the viewer, are spying on a spy. This man is looking into a room, presumably at an erotic scene or a private scene. Somebody has locked the door, right? But they've forgotten to leave the key. So the keyhole is the aperture through which he can view. But he's unaware of the fact, he's so consumed with what he's looking at, he's unaware of the fact that we're looking at him. And so that's the frisson of this image, and why it's always such a powerful image to see, to catch the spy in the act.
And he's also kind of thematizing the reader and the viewer of these materials, because Edward Fuchs is engaged in social, cultural criticism, but a lot of his kind of commercial success is about the kind of scopic pulsion, basically. Yeah. People wanting to see these images, sometimes kind of titillating images. So he was kind of really playing on both things, basically, like wanting to see things for yourself, and at the same time having a more kind of distanced, critical discourse about them, basically.
About how you should understand yourself in the act of looking.
Yeah.
Yeah. That you're a participant. Yeah. That you are observable. Yeah. You are, as an observer, you are also observable.
Yeah.
Which is even more important, I would say, for us today, because often we scroll through endlessly, these social media feeds, and you stop and you click and you look, but you are being observed. As you think you're looking through a keyhole onto the internet in your phone, you feel this sense of power, this sense of autonomy, this sense of privacy, but every place where you pause, every place where you look is being recorded, right? Yeah. So there's a different dynamic in play, and this is, I think, probably one of the more provocative aspects of our show. As you can see, this is a printout of a product information page, which we obtained through Walmart.com, because today, where can you find Edward Fuchs? Well, if you're an antique book dealer like me, you can buy these kinds of expensive old volumes that he published originally. Or you can go online and very inexpensively through Walmart.com, you can purchase something called Old Man Spying Through Keyhole from Illustrierte Sittengeschichte vom Mittelalter bis zum Gegenwart by Edward Fuchs, published 1909, printed on stretched canvas, 12 by 16 inches. Exactly a reproduction of a lithograph which appeared in an Edward Fuchs album, which is now being presented to you, the tasteful consumer, as printed canvas wall art for your home or office, which is very funny to us. We really like this idea that what started as a lithograph, which was published in a newspaper, was then reproduced by Edward Fuchs in one of his albums, in the Illustrierte Sittengeschichte. And now, because it's out of copyright, some capitalists, in this case wall art distributors, has decided to use Walmart.com's website as an opportunity to sell these kind of tasteful reproductions of these lithographs printed on canvas, which is very, very funny when you think about it, because the rhetoric of the work of art on canvas is the idea of like a unique painting, something uniquely valuable and beautiful. And the fact is that it contains so many echoes of these kind of political, social, and ideological dialogues that Fuchs engaged in.
One of them, I guess, that is particularly kind of meaningful and important to us is the Benjamin one. Walter Benjamin, in his essay on Fuchs, in his essay on the kind of reproducibility of images, is thinking about the kind of different ways you can use kind of media and like technical reproduction. So he thinks that the reproduction of images, of cinema, has this kind of democratic, revolutionary potential, but that it's not necessarily going to go this way. It can also be used in the other direction. And it was interesting to us to like be able to kind of illustrate this point, but with this specific illustration that was used by Fuchs in this kind of social critique mode, in this kind of democratizing mode, that was then kind of appropriated by a kind of giant kind of entrepot of images for like decorate your kind of wall or office. As these images were in this kind of like radical liberating context. Now they are being used to decorate kind of capitalist office spaces. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a funny thing to catch these powerful echoes of previous discourses, kind of trapped in the amber of e-commerce available in the World Wide Web today. Because when we started this project, we weren't aware of the existence of canvas wall art for your home or office, printed on demand, available via Walmart.com. And when we found that our friend Edvard Fuchs was somehow a ghost trapped inside of this kind of, as Raphael mentions, capitalist entrepot, it was too delicious to leave it to the side. We had to include not only the canvas wall art, but also a reproduction of the web page itself, printed out physically, like a print, just to kind of put them in constellation with each other in this kind of this new critical dialogue that we hope will be at least funny to some viewers, perhaps curious, and hopefully will spark some interest in who was Edvard Fuchs, why did he give a fuck, and what we can say about that today.
That's right, and show different layers of media, because in the same room, basically in the same space, we'll try to kind of reconstitute or give glimpses of different stages. So we'll have the original kind of Daumier lithographs from the kind of early or mid 19th century. Then we will have the Fuchs albums that were created with this with reproduction of these lithographs from his collection, plus examples of caricatures printed by Fuchs and other examples of caricature. And then we'll have the kind of next stage, which is like how these reproductions of a reproduction are now trapped in this kind of like digital kind of hall of mirrors, basically. So we'll have the Daumiers, the Fuchs, and the Walmart art for your home or office.